early. Sometimes it's good to be early. But our show starts at a specific time. You should remember that. Let's get started then, shall we?
Dillon, I don't give a what you think about a co-host and freshen up my show.
It might not be flashy, but sometimes you just gotta toss another person to make a statement.
My show's about the people's podcast. Everyone has a voice. I don't need a co-host. Go listen to one of the other 5,000 shows with a co-host because they don't have a mouth like the big guy.
Opie, are you a career killer with Tim Sabian, yourself, and many others?
Be myself. Never had real issues with those people. They just understood that I was a different bird. The rest of them, though, I'm like, oh, shut up. I'm paying your salary because the ratings are so good, so shut up.
Live from
somewhere,
it's Dillon.
Good whatever to you whenever you are listening to this episode of Co-Host Auditions. I am your host, Dillon, and today our host, my self-taped audition for our host is Pug Mugsly. I am looking forward to this one. I stumbled across her with some of her video essays, and I do love a good video essayist on Co-Host Auditions, or a mediocre one like Tara Mooney, who has gotten consistent C grades from every video essay I have seen. But Pug Mugsly came on my radar about a month ago. I saw a Street Sharks review that she did, and she was very attracted to the sexy scientist man. Reminded me of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and my attraction to April O'Neil back when I was 3 years old. And there's been many more sexy cartoon women since then. But yeah, Pug Mugsly will be taking us to a weird corner of the internet in our second video. It is ASMR and gynecology and bears, oh my. We are sandwiched in between two bears, and luckily Bert Kreischer isn't one of them. Take it away, Pug.
Oh, hi. I'm about
Hello.
to ruin your childhood. The Berenstain Bears were created by Stan and Jan Berenstain in 1962. There are more than 360 books in the series, with over 300 million copies sold.
And they have the inspired names of Brother, Sister, Father, and Mother Bear. Gets the point across. Lets the kids know without getting too complicated with those damn names getting in the way.
I have such fond memories of reading the Berenstain Bears as a kid. These bears teach you all about fundamental life skills, such as manners, not eating.
Okay, I do have a laugh from Papa Bear picking his teeth with a random stick. All dads everywhere do that, and I have found myself doing that. I guess that's just as you get older. It's there's something in my teeth. This'll do, and I catch myself. What the hell am I doing? I am turning into my father. Next thing you know, actually, let's not get into that family secret I was about to make a joke about.
Manners, not eating too much junk food, cleaning, how to bash in your fearful piggy bank with a hammer, and what to do when Bigfoot shows up at Thanksgiving dinner. Chances are you know these bears. You too have loved these bears. Their faces.
No matter which universe you are from, whether it be the Berenstain universe or the Berenstain universe, they exist in both.
To you. There's Papa Bear, Mama Bear, Brother Bear, and Sister Bear, the original nuclear family of bears. They added another baby later on named Honey Bear.
I did not stick around for Honey Bear. Was she part of the PBS series that ripped off what was it? Was it the national anthem? Da, 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 da. And that's what they ripped off for their theme. We are the Berenstain Bears.
But I do not accept her as part of the original Berenstain canon of my childhood. So, the reason we're all here. Look at Mama Bear. Look at her and her bonnet and her shapeless blue muumuu dress that sometimes has polka dots and
Kind of like a Marge Simpson a little bit with that dress, just to replace blue with green.
sometimes doesn't. Mama Bear loves making quilts. She loves gardening. She loves spending her days taking care of her sometimes ungrateful family. This is her life. Now, how old do you think she is? How old is Mama Bear?
They make her look like she's in her
Give you
40s.
a moment to let the answer form and take shape in your mind. Mama Bear is 27 years old.
And this is a throwback to the 1950s where people aged way quicker than they do nowadays, it seems. You see someone who is a senior in high school, they look like that they are in their mid 30s.
Bear, who spends her days in a grandma nightgown, is only 27. It's like she has entirely given up on her youth and just decided, whatever, I'm gonna wear my bonnet to the grocery store. It doesn't matter. I mean, logic.
That is what it was of the time. You are a mother now. You are nothing else. It is the 1950s. I am Papa Bear. I have the job. I go outside of the house. You stay inside of the house. You take care of the inside of the house. I take care of the outside of the house. Just be absolutely in your muumuu all day, and that is okay in the 1950s.
Logically, 27 is a perfectly reasonable age to be a parent. And out of curiosity, I checked, and Papa Bear is only 29. Initially, I could only find this info on the Berenstain Bears fandom wiki, which I didn't think was the.
There's just a wiki for everything. So they are both in their 20s, looking like their 40s. Yeah, very 1950s of people who are 20s and 30s looking like their 40s and 50s.
Strongest of sources. Right up
Whoops.
front.
And also,
Right.
people that I went to high school with, they make me feel much better about myself. Looking at those people who have aged just a decade and a half. Actually, it has been a decade and a half. People who have aged 3 decades in a decade and a half.
On the internet. However, with that in mind, I have to mention a second age related fact. Brother Bear, their eldest son, is 10 years old.
So this is a Southern family where you start pumping them out early and often. And once again, getting back to maybe this is the 1900s even that we're throwing back to an era where these are the 2 surviving children. There was a high infant mortality rate. So we must assume that there are a lot of baby bears that did not get another name because they didn't make it past baby.
Calling upon my old nemesis math, that means that Mama Bear gave birth at 17. And depending on the timing, she could have gotten pregnant at 16. Mama Bear was a teenage mom. When did she
She could have been a star on a shitty MTV reality television show.
Papa Bear get married? Is the legal age of adulthood the same in Bear Country as it is in the United States? Because if the legal age to get married is 18, then that means that Brother Bear was conceived out of wedlock. On one hand, I don't care, but on the other hand, I am shocked. This is especially ironic.
Granddad Bear made sure that it was a shotgun wedding because Papa Bear, he was going to go off to war and fuck some Vietnamese bears while he was there.
Considering both the Berenstain Bears' general wholesome nature, as well as their eventual turn towards blatant Christian evangelizing that was brought on by Stan and Jan's son Mike, who now owns the franchise.
Fuck you, Mike.
Take this disturbing turn of events one step further. Since the Berenstain fandom wiki has now proven its reliability, I would like to read to you this section about Papa Bear's personality. Although Papa tends to be awkward, he is actually well-intentioned. Like Mama, he is an
Ayla wondering why this bitch is worried about these cartoon bears. Autism. The same reason that she is so damn attracted to that sexy scientist man from Street Sharks.
authoritarian. But despite this, he tends to get upset over nothing while pushed past his limit, leaving Mama to pick up the scraps for him or assuming that cubs will learn as they grow. Due to his behavior,
She is very much into bear rights. She must be not the right to bear arms, but bear rights. So she is probably big into the polar bear scene.
at times, he tends to think that the rules don't apply to him, and as a result, he ends up
The original Homer Simpson. They just didn't go far enough with him.
having to set an example for the cubs or doing chores as punishment. He gets upset over nothing and leaves Mama Bear to pick up.
She is getting very upset about this. Maybe it's because they were so big in her childhood, and she is very upset looking back at it of what impression that these bears made on her. I wonder if you are a hag of a certain variety and you have some bear friends yourself.
Up the scraps? If she posted about this on the relationship subreddit, everyone would tell her to divorce him. Did Mama Bear end up getting shackled to this man child with anger issues due to her unplanned teenage pregnancy?
Very much diving into the lore of these bears. Yeah, I guess so. It's surprising how many correlations there are to The Simpsons here, where Homer knocked up Marge and she was just stuck with him, and Papa Bear knocked up Mama Bear and she is stuck with him. But she was a teenage bride. At least Marge Simpson, they were out of high school. I don't know how they rewrote the history with Sadgasm and all that horse shit, which is kind of a sign that The Simpsons stuck around for too long, because their backstory really was very good and a touching one. And I'm only aware of that stupid goddamn Simpsons Sadgasm episode, and I refuse to acknowledge it anymore. We got another minute and a half of this one, but I think we got to the main point of Pug Mugsly being very upset about the Berenstein Bears. Let's go on to this weird ASMR that she has stumbled upon, that I thought I had gotten into the oddest of ASMRs with my TikTokery, but no, there is Gynecology ASMR. What the fuck is this all about, Pug?
Right up front, I know
Oh, and this shirt she's wearing here is a random Simpsons shirt. She got toasted at Moe's Tavern, and that is what I am wearing. If you are in legal trouble, you better call Lionel Hutz.
posit a question in the video title, and I need you to know right now that I have no concrete answers. In fact, this video may only beget more questions, as happens so often in my
Concrete ASMR? Is that a thing? Hopefully the concrete isn't mixed with the Gynecology ASMR. That could cause someone to go to the emergency room.
life. I stumbled across something unusual, just completely by accident. A few weeks ago, YouTube recommended a gynecologist ASMR roleplay video to me, and I noticed it, but I did not.
Pornhub suggested those videos for me, but YouTube didn't. You have some very odd scrolling habits on YouTube that matches up to my Pornhub scrolling habits.
Click on it.
Hey, I just noticed that she has some whiskey there in the background with some googly eyes on him. And that is why I became a fan of this weirdo, because I think we are on the same frequency of weird, even if she is turning off some of you of my viewers. And I do realize with my TikToks, I realize that I need to find the right balance of things I like and things that my audience will both like, instead of just leaning into shit that I will like. So, noted.
At the time, I assumed that it was just an outlier in its genre, but I did not forget that it existed. And then, very recently, YouTube recommended a different gynecologist ASMR roleplay video to me. So at that point, I had to.
Sounds like you're bragging at this point.
Oh, good for you.
No more. Just follow this path wherever it led. ASMR is a trend that has gotten very popular on YouTube in roughly
She's winning over both me and Spurgsnake with her weirdness in the background. I like the googly-eyed whiskey. He likes the Kraken painting.
the past.
And there's a bird on R2-D2. I really like your art. Did you make that yourself, or did you get some? Oh, there is a lot of liquor on that liquor shelf. I am more of a beer guy myself. I prefer the IPAs, but this is a woman who likes her liquor.
Decade. For those who don't know, here is
Someone who likes their liquor. Very appropriate for gynecology videos.
the general
Liquor
context. ASMR is an acronym for Autonomous Sensory Meridian Response. It is basically a pleasant brain reaction to certain sounds. People in the ASMR community call it the tingles. Not to be confused with Chuck Tingle and the fact that he calls his short stories tinglers. It's now so ubiquitous that sometimes
Me and Spurgsnake are big fans of Pug Mugsly, but it looks like Giroux, Giroux, I will pronounce it right one of these days, is reaching for something. He's a fan of her hair, and I believe that she is scaring off Deitois here. So we are split down the middle on how we feel of Pug Mugsly.
celebrities do ASMR as part of press interviews.
I'm doing an ASMR interview for W Magazine.
Tons of people on YouTube are making videos of themselves, like tapping things, whispering, crinkling things, or making other very specific sounds with the intention of triggering tingles for their viewers. But
all right, sounds like Deitois is indifferent about her. And we have got two fans, and all right, we are coming out on the positive end. I do believe that more of my viewers ran away from Tara Mooney, but I am a fan of Tara Mooney, despite the fact that her video essays are middling at best.
some videos go a step further. They create an entire elaborate roleplay scenario complete with costumes and set design, all structured around the sounds of their choosing. The videos are usually POV, point of view in nature, where the person interacts with the camera as if
POV. So are we POV from the one getting the exam, or it can't be giving the exam? Then it would have to be on Pornhub.
they're interacting with you directly. So they may reach out to brush your hair or apply blush to your face. I can't wait.
We are kind of split on being a fan, being indifferent, or not liking Pug Mugsly. What about you, Garth? What do you think?
You're a freak with a microphone.
I am going to take that as a positive.
Wait to know what that did to the focus of my camera. I one time clicked on a video that was something like your two elfin handmaidens adorn you, because I could not live the rest of my life not knowing.
Ooh, two handmaidens. Could I get one handmaiden and one mouth maiden? That would be just fantastic.
What that video entailed. This is a trait that is often my downfall, because ever since that point, YouTube occasionally recommends this style of video to me. So I am vaguely aware of the world of highly specific ASMR roleplay on YouTube. I think the algorithm recently recommended a video to me that was like, woman in 1807 makes historical mac and cheese. In case you were wondering,
You have gone down an ASMR rabbit hole I have not seen. And I am a big fan of the anti-ASMR. I've mentioned that a bunch of times. The guy who puts a pot over his microphone and hits it with a hammer, crippled with laughter for minutes at a time. I cannot turn away from that guy smashing a pot with a hammer and scraping it with a fork, because I am just incapacitated on the floor laughing my ass off.
I don't really
I laughed my ass off.
have any particularly strong thoughts about ASMR.
What? Why are you looking at me like
If
that?
he were schizophrenic, it wouldn't take away from the fact that the
I am
defendant...
not crazy.
I am not crazy.
It's kind of just a thing that exists. I find these roleplay videos very fascinating because people clearly put a lot of effort into them. but they do make me feel deeply uncomfortable if I try to watch them, and I kind of just like click away really fast. You may wonder, is ASMR a sex thing? As with much of the internet, it varies. Everything
For some people, absolutely yes. And yeah, it does get me tingly in the downstairs parts. Can't deny that. As it did Beavis. He got tingly in the downstairs parts, and Butthead had to smack him to put his thingy away.
thing is a sex thing for somebody. But it seems like the majority of the audience it just finds ASMR videos to be soothing. It's relatively harmless overall, and with the state of the world, I would never want to begrudge somebody such a simplistic comfort. I mean, there are plenty of hobbies that I'm not into, but that doesn't make them intrinsically weird. Plus, I am keenly aware of the fact that because of the title of this video, the main keyword will be gynecologist ASMR, and the only people who will be searching for that keyword are people that want to find gynecologist ASMR.
And how many people is that? It's 1,500 of her 4,000 subscribers that decided to check out this video on gynecology ASMR.
And they'll find me. Hi. All of that being
And then they will see your attraction to a sexy cartoon scientist man.
said, I am still surprised and confused by the popularity of female gynecologist ASMR roleplay. As a woman, I find going to the gynecologist to be inherently stressful. Last time I was there, I made a joke and she didn't laugh.
Sounds like she was more like Chuck, our buddy Chuck in this. He said this.
What a sick joke!
That's what your gynecologist said.
Never go back. Gynecologist ASMR feels like the type of thing that I would make if I was trying to parody ASMR. Like, pick an inherently non-relaxing thing and make an ASMR-styled video about it. You're midway across the Atlantic.
Yeah, some people are into ASMR, but Christian Bale, you're a fan of ASMR. What do you think of gynecology ASMR?
Hey, it's fucking distracting.
Little too distracting for Christian Bale to enjoy that brand of ASMR.
Atlantic Ocean on an airplane, and a flight attendant reassures you as the plane experiences turbulence. It's okay. Turbulence is totally normal. Don't worry.
It's lost. You are triggering me, Pug Mugsly. Do not send me on a Lost rant for the second time in 2 weeks. That fucking show where we introduce what this show was all about the entire time here in the last season, because we knew about it all along, but we didn't allude to anything that this is actually about at all until the last few episodes when we finally had to wrap up and explain this thing that we knew the answers to all along. Fuck you, Q's. Fuck you, Lindelof. Fuck you, JJ.
The pilot had 2 shots
Fuck you,
of
Kurtzman.
whiskey to steady his nerves. I'm just kidding. That was a joke. Please keep your tray table in the upper. There is actually funny quasi-parody ASMR out there, so someone may have already done this. So I did my research for this video in a private internet browser because I don't want anyone to find this in my search history if I die. And look at how many of these videos there are. One of them has 2.8 million views. This other one.
How have I not stumbled upon this with my weird ASMR ring? Because I don't really dabble in just ASMR as is. It's got to be something fucking weird for me to get into that ASMR, as I mentioned earlier, with the anti-ASMR.
Other one has almost 1 million. Many of them have views that total in the multiple thousands. There's clearly a market for this, since there's more than one and they're all so highly viewed. That's the primary thing that confuses me about this. Like, it would not surprise me if a gynecologist ASMR roleplay video existed. This is the internet, but it's the fact that there are so many of them and that so many people are watching. Is it me?
Home run, G rule. Guy rule. Just give me a 1 when I get it right. Abortion ASMR. Giroux. I believe it's French. I'm going to say Giroux, and that's what I'm going to stick with. And just admonish me if I am incorrect about that, Giroux.
Is it just me? Am I missing something? These videos are exactly what they sound like. The gynecologist introduces themselves and they walk through medical background questions. They discuss your general.
Giroux is good enough. And I do put that little French stank on it for Giroux when I really get into saying that name. So Giroux is good enough for now. Maybe one of these days I will get 100%, but it does sound like I have a solid C in pronouncing your name. I am as good at this as Tara Mooney is at her video essays.
General health. They ask if you have any concerns about your cervix. And then they move into the exam portion of the
Ooh, you do not
appointment.
want that from your gynecologist, that stabby girl. Oh, yep, here we go. It is POV of the person getting the gynecological exam.
Recreating legs in stirrups. It's putting on latex gloves while they poke around down there. It's explaining that they will be scraping your cervix. It's taking a swab for your pap smear. I mean, they even have speculums. It hits many of the same beats as a real.
I was imagining that was 90% of it. Was gonna get the speculum out and just tapping and clicking the speculum. And yeah, then we do get into what you were describing over here earlier, Giroux. Creamy sounds.
Real gynecologist appointment. Except it's delivered by someone that's whispering slowly as they maintain a constant and reassuring, yet kind of over-familiar narration about everything that's happening. And all of the sounds, putting on the medical gloves, the scratch of the pen as she writes your prescription, the clicking of the computer keys as she logs your family medical history. It's all exaggeratedly audible in the style of ASMR. Considering that the real-world experience of going to the gynecologist is...
Jay Sherman, what do you think of this gynecologist ASMR?
It stinks.
But it's a good stink, Jay Sherman. What are you,
widely
gay?
considered to be very stressful. Are
Not
there
that there's
women who
anything wrong with
find
that.
A simulated gynecologist appointment relaxing. There's only one place that could potentially provide an answer. So I decided to read the comments. As far as I can tell, the comments fall into 4 main categories. 1. A lot of the comments are noting the bravery of the topic choice. Ignore the haters. You're making good ASMR content and educating.
Good ASMR content. That is a sliding scale on what you would call ASMR, good ASMR content. As I said with the anti-ASMR, I think most people would just scream and run away from it. But I am running straight towards someone hitting the microphone with a hammer. It's damn funny.
People about what happens at a gynecologist visit. 2. Many of the comments are making some sort of joke, but they are more joking with the video than making fun of it. For example, a number of people will provide their own ridiculous comedy answers to the one-sided medical questions that are asked during the exam. 3. Some of the comments just say that this is relaxing to them, like any other ASMR video.
I saw one of those comments that said something about comparing that to burgers and fries. Can you make another video like this? Like an updated one? Because this tingles. Ooh.
4. There are comments saying...
I think that lady has some gynecology fantasies that this ASMR is really tickling for her.
That these videos help them with their anxiety related to real gynecologist appointments, particularly young women who may be going to the gynecologist for the very first time and have no idea what to expect, which is something I had not considered. And I imagine there would be more...
Oh my God, this is gonna become real, isn't it? There's gonna be some gynecologists who realize there's people who are really into this people, women. There's no man going for a gynecology. Well, I forgot we're in 2023. There are men going for gynecology appointments.
Medically oriented videos that would provide that same function. But it's no surprise that, girls might find this style of content to be safer or friendlier. Actually, one of the videos with almost 250,000 views was filmed by a real physician's assistant in an OBGYN office. I wonder if her coworkers are like, is Leanna okay? She's been locked in the exam room whispering to herself for like...
That seems like something that could get you fired. Lil Tay's mother got herself fired from her real estate business by having her show up in these houses that she was selling to be like, I'm a 10-year-old millionaire.
Like 20 minutes? I checked. There's no one else in there. That's why I film my videos at home. The only person who can hear me here is my elderly neighbor on the other side of that wall. She hears everything. Sometimes I just wonder if...
That look that she gave makes me think there are some unlisted videos that she makes just for herself.
If my bafflement is a sign that I'm getting old and I no longer understand the cool trends. Or maybe I'm just looking at this all wrong. Maybe it follows the same logic as why people watch scary movies or they go to a haunted house. You take something that is inherently stressful and terrifying and you just lean into it. And in doing so, you are able to find catharsis. By the way, yes, there are prostate exam ASMR roleplay videos.
Oh boy, to Pornhub I go. Squishy, squishy, squishy.
And those are a sex thing.
Of course. Yeah, those are not going to be an ASMR prostate video is not going to be anything but dudes jerking it. That was 2 out of our 3 videos from Pug Mugsly. We have got one more video about bears. I believe we are talking about Smokey the Bear. Before I get too far, I want to thank you for joining and do a little shill segment to ask you to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Thank you for chatting. Leaving a comment afterwards also helps the algorithm to help me get the minimum of monetization, but really it's paywall content is where things are. And you can find more shenanigans over on my Discord where we have a gift section. Umlaut has taken that in a rotten.com type of direction. I thought it was going to be very cutesy, but Umlaut did step over the line. I was like, okay, going for this type of hardcore rotten.com type of content, no, sir. This type of rotten.com type of content, yes, sir. So check out the Discord and check out my show with Annie. What is this game? El Horrible is scheduled to be the guest next week, and he is very busy, but he did agree to it before he was like, no more bookings. No more bookings. So he will be following through, and we will be bullshitting about some video games with Annie. And actually, Annie will be the guest on Chatting with Beloved Chatters this Thursday at 11:30 a.m. TikTok around the clock tomorrow at 11:30 a.m. And now back to our host for the day, Pug Mugsly, and her talking about Smokey the Bear.
Remember, only you can prevent forest fires. Only you.
Me? Only me? That's a lot of pressure.
Actually, I should have pulled the Simpsons joke about Smokey the Bear, since both her and I were wearing Simpsons stuff.
I don't even go outside all that much.
And she does, like I've mentioned before, I have my light against the opposite wall, and then the bounce is what you see of this nice lighting. Looks like fucking garbage without that lighting. But Pug Mugsly has the light is definitely facing her front on, because every video I see, she has got like those cartoon little white dots in the middle of her eyes. So that's the opposite of me putting the spotlight against the other wall and her putting the spotlight right up to her to get that effect of little whites in her eyes.
that much. We all know
There's a race joke in there somewhere with whites in her eyes.
this character, the shirtless bear in jeans and a hat, trying to prevent the sins of Prometheus from burning down.
Are you into that cartoon bear, just like you were the cartoon scientist? By the way, I apologize for that mouth noise. I made that. Apologies, viewers.
Down his home. Or do we know him? I'm going to start this video by telling you something that will mess with your head. This guy. Look at this guy. Who is he?
He doesn't wear a shirt at all. He is he does look like a homosexual bear that is going home to his male bear partner. Now that looking at this in hindsight, because Smokey the Bear isn't around anymore, is he? He was doing stuff when I was a kid, and they phased him out.
What is his name? Oh, Smokey the Bear, you say? Wrong. There is no.
And I believe if Mitch Hedberg told me correctly, over in the UK, it's a frog who was the equivalent of Smokey the Bear.
He is just Smokey Bear. I watched a bunch of his PSAs just to make sure that the National Forest Service and the Ad Council aren't dirty liars.
Smokey Bear.
Smokey Bear.
Smokey Bear.
Smokey Bear.
Smokey Bear.
Smokey Bear.
Hi, I'm Smokey Bear.
Smokey Bear is what Twinkie Bear likes to suck on.
Smokey Bear's
It's Smokey Bear.
I messed that up. Smokey Bear. Fuck it.
I'm Smokey Bear.
Smokey Bear.
My name is Smokey Bear.
There are also like PSAs and contest entries from other local and state governments.
And I do believe that Smokey Bear hung out with Cheech and Chong too, man. Oh, that guy yesterday was shitting on Cheech and Chong, but Cheech and Chong have 4 good movies. Next movie, Up in Smoke, Things Are Tough All Over, and Nice Dreams. All solid movies. And then you have the Corsican Brothers, which was a nice attempt, but didn't quite hit the mark. And 2 other movies that were just... What was that thumbs up? I have no idea what that thumbs up was. Did you all see that?
Government agencies.
Smokey Bear, Smokey Bear. Smokey Bear is here to defend.
Smokey Bear.
Pop culture.
Am I hallucinating thumbs up? I did a thumbs up and a thumbs up appeared.
And the news media continue to refer to him as Smokey the Bear.
Smokey the Bear is entering his golden years.
Today, Smokey the Bear is turning 70. Smokey the Bear celebrated his 70th birthday yesterday.
This is the first Smokey the Bear.
Jeru there with his white in her eye joke. It was a cum joke, not a race joke. I got a little bit away from that, but very nice. A cum joke rather than a race joke with the whites in her eyes.
Bear sign in Harrison County.
Jimmy Kimmel apparently learned the truth a few months ago.
It's not Smokey the Bear, it's Smokey Bear. I found out there's no "the" in the name, which I have to say shook me to the core. 50 years I've been saying Smokey the Bear.
However, there are a few times where semi-official sources messed up. For example, in 1952, 2 guys named Steve Nelson and Jack Rowlands wrote a song titled Smokey the Bear. They added "the" to make the lyrics fit better with the music.
You see, there pretty much every Mandela effect, there is a perfectly logical explanation. Like, Luke, I am your father. It was changed. No, when you say, no, I am your father, just out in public, people don't fucking get it. People had to modify it to Luke, I am your father for the reference when they make, just out in the wild so people will get it. Because no, I am your father, even if you know Star Wars, might just sail right over your head. And that's the most easily explainable one. The cornucopia in Fruit of the Loom, I can't fucking explain that one.
Smokey the Bear, Smokey the Bear, howling and a growling and a sniffing the air.
And in watching pretty much every single Smokey PSA ever, I discovered that the Ad Council messed up in 1960.
I'll tell you, said Smokey the Bear. That's a good job.
said Smokey the Bear. It has been our pleasure to...
I love that cheap-ass 1970s animation. As a kid, I could tell something was up with those 1960s, 1970s Looney Tunes that I couldn't quite put my finger on. But it was the quality where the original 30s, 40s Looney Tunes were really high quality and put into movie theaters, and the 60s, 70s Looney Tunes were just slapdash together to throw on television.
To present the preceding story of Smokey and the Little Boy in cooperation with the Advertising Council as a public...
Smokey and the Little Boy. Is Smokey also known as Uncle Paul? All right, it's been a while since I went into a Jim Norton persona. I believe I earned up my Jim Norton points because I was overusing it, and it's been a few episodes, so I believe I earned that one.
Public service.
They call him Smokey the Bear in this PSA. So, yeah. There was also a Dell comic series published right around the same time, the late 50s and early 60s, and they used Smokey the Bear in the title of the comics. But when they adapted it later for a cartoon, they did correct the title, and it does seem like the comic titles were corrected sometime during the initial publication. I was trying to look more into the comics because apparently they don't really talk about forest fires. No, they deal with topics like communism or...
Really? They didn't talk about hippie fires, man? Actually, I guess that does get into the Red Scare of the fucking hippies turning this great country of ours into a communist haven.
Two weasels trying to feed a baby bird to a bobcat so they can take pictures and then sell the pictures to a magazine. It sounds wild, but in order to really learn everything I want to know, I would probably have to buy the old comics on eBay or something. I want to say something like, if this video gets 100 likes, I'll buy and review the old...
What's up with that zoom out? I don't get what's up with the zoom out.
Smokey Bear comics, but I don't remember in searching how much they cost, so I don't want to make that promise. But I would consider it. I did find a very odd Pinterest post from a Jerry P, who talks about how after the comic was published...
Jerry P? I thought it was Jerry Poo. Are you sure it's Jerry P? I think that we are coming once again to a Mandela effect, because I remember Jerry Poo. I don't remember this Jerry P fellow.
We had a training on how to never use the with any Smokey Bear presentations. However, I couldn't verify that a...
Let's take another look at what she's got in the background here. She was winning over me and Spurgsnake with her paintings of the Kraken and the googly eyes on the whiskey in the other background. We've got the Yellow Ranger. We've got Raphael. Ask again later. Not as fun, this one, her background here. And I was more of a Pink Ranger and Donatello guy. And later on, I hear people saying, no one liked Donatello. I like the nerd. He was the smart one. He made inventions. So, yeah, as a fucking geek, I liked Donatello. And come on, every guy loved the Pink Ranger. The Pink Ranger was just such an early crush. Not as early as cartoon April O'Neil and Cyndi Lauper for me, but a early crush nonetheless.
Jerry P had worked at Dell Comics either during that era or at any time. But I mean, it sounds like it could be true. But yeah, other than those things, it's Smokey Bear and not Smokey the Bear. What is it with bears and the Mandela effect? Just in case you don't know, the Mandela effect is a term that refers to a seemingly collective memory that turns out to be inaccurate.
And I do come from the universe where Mandela never died. Well, he didn't die in prison, because I remember, I wish I could give credit to the stand-up comedian who talked about Nelson Mandela getting out of jail, getting married, and then just a few short years later, getting a divorce. And how Nelson Mandela had the conviction within him to stay in prison and fight for his rights, but he didn't have the conviction to stay married to some crazy lady.
The term was coined because apparently a lot of people believed that Nelson Mandela was dead, like long before when he actually died in 2013, because they had very specific and similar memories of the news related to his death or images of the funeral, but it turned out just not to be real. Another example is the Berenstain Bears. A lot of people in
And we did talk about the Berenstain Bears earlier, and yeah, that one wasn't as fun. I had a lot of fun with the second two videos from Pug Mugsly. The first one about the Berenstain Bears, not as much fun. If you have some buddies who are a fan of this, you can tell them to skip past the Berenstain Bears portion of this program and get on to the second two videos, because those were a lot more fun.
Including me, remember them as being the Berenstein Bears. But no, it was never Berenstein. It was always Berenstain. By the way, Smokey's tagline,
It's because brother had a Berenstain on all his sheets. Ooh, two Jim Norton impressions in one show. I am pushing my luck.
used to be only you can prevent forest fires.
Only you can prevent forest fires.
But they changed it. So now it's only you can prevent wildfires.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
So you may hear it and think that's another Mandela effect thing, but no, it was actually different before. Okay, so now that you are questioning,
The alliteration is better. Forest fires, wildfires. Actually, that was a pet name for one of my exes.
your own sanity, I want to show you a very specific PSA from 1973 featuring the actress Joanna Cassidy. And the less I say beforehand, the better.
I know a place that's peaceful and quiet.
Sounds like ASMR from the 1970s.
Place where animals play. It's called the forest, but
I thought that the animals were going to play in the downstairs parts, the way that you're so sensually talking to us.
every year we start forest fires. A careless match or cigarette and poof, fire.
Why are you being so sexy about it, though?
So the next time you're in the forest, be extra careful, okay?
If you knew it was me, would you have listened?
I've tried.
Okay, that was nightmare fuel. That quick couple of frames where he was taking off that human mask.
To make sense of this. Joanna Cassidy would later go on to star in many popular TV shows and movies. Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Blade Runner, 6 Feet Under, the original Mission Impossible TV series. But in 1973,
Who Framed Roger Rabbit? About how Los Angeles paved Toontown and put up a highway.
she had only been in like 2 things. So it's not like she had some sort of like iconic character or some sort of regular type that she played where this sort of demeanor would make sense. I can't figure out why they made this. It's so creepy. Were drugs involved? I don't know. That would be a different PSA. By the way, this isn't the
Only you can prevent doobie fires, man. Put out your bong and your joints safely.
only weird Smokey Bear PSA. The Smokey Bear Association has them all archived. There are also PSAs from the Smokey era, but without Smokey in.
Smokey Bear, Smokey Twink. That's the joke I was trying to come on earlier. Come on. Smokey Bear, Smokey Twink. That is a 69.
them. This one is called Bomb in the Forest, and it is just continuous footage of a bomb exploding.
We destroyed 10,000 square miles of America last year. That's more land than 90 hydrogen bombs would destroy.
Rod Sterling turns his PSA into a Twilight Zone episode about murder.
Ed Morgan,
Murder.
every man. Anyone who handles fire in any form is a potential killer.
This one takes place in a post-tree dystopia.
What about handling a fire crotch? Because I'm interested in that.
Because without trees, there's no air, so everything dies.
Grandpa, I wish I can bring back the trees for you.
It's worth noting there is a dark
Very much like the finale of Dinosaurs. Everyone dies, which Pug Mugsly also has a video about.
side to Smokey Bear. You see, some of his efforts have backfired. Backfired. Get it? Fire, because fire. He is so effective that now people are terrified of any kind of forest-related fire, even pre-planned controlled burns. Apparently, pre-planned
And
burns
it's actually part of the ecosystem in some parts where that's why like Los Angeles has these out of control wildfires because they just prevented all wildfires. Well, there's many reasons of why Los Angeles has a fire season, and living there for 8 years, it is that time. It is fire season out in Los Angeles right now. Where some places have a tornado season, there is a season of fucking fire.
burns are good for forests. They reduce overgrowth and actually make them less flammable. But now officials are scared to do these controlled burns because of public perception and shaming. And as a result, forests have now gotten incredibly overgrown.
Thank you, government, for sticking it into our mind that all forest fires are bad. And now the public perception is no, do not let this natural occurrence take place of the forest. There's some plants that don't bloom until after a fire.
Overgrown and extra flammable. So now forest fires are able to do more damage than ever before. Which is why you've got these like guns or glitter, gender reveal gone wrong situations taking out half the trees in California. There were 3 different like gun related gender reveal terms that I could find. There was guns or glitter, rifles or ruffles, and pistols or pearls. What if you have a girl and she likes guns? But
Ooh, pistols produce pearls, and they give you a nice little necklace.
we all still love Smokey Bear, just not as much as this lady.
Hey, get away from the DMCA music. We'll just watch her stroke Smokey Bear and just imagine where that music was going. Because I do stay away from those DMCA strikes as much as possible. So one day I can monetize these motherfuckers. Well, that is all for Pug Mugsly. We have few videos. ASMR Gynecology is what Pug Mugsly was talking about in our second video. So I have a few examples of how the alternative cringe comedy ASMR won me over. And Persian Latina was the first lady that I found in the weird cringe comedy ASMR community. So here is a few examples of cringe comedy ASMR from Persian Latina. That slime is actually pretty regular in the ASMR community, but the hand puppets are pretty unique to Persian Latina. And the squirrel and the dog both eating out that slime, they're high-fiving. They're having a good old time. And she also has a mannequin head. I'm not sure exactly what she does with that as ASMR, other than those jump scares that she just did. We have another one of her ASMR videos with the squirrel eating the slime on the microphone. And the blobfish wants some too. And it's actually those quick reactions that she has. She actually operates that squirrel puppet very well, and it reminds me of an actual squirrel. The squirrel decapitated itself while trying to defend its slime from the blobfish. And we have another invader. We have another run-in trying to get to the slime. And it's none other than John Cena. ASMR squirrel does not like the blobfish and does not like John Cena, but the doggy it will very much enjoys sharing the slime with. That was Persian Latina, and yeah, she is the one. It is her fault that I have stumbled and gone down the rabbit hole of ASMR cringe comedy. The jump scare of the mannequin head. She took the gimmick from Al Snow. And actually, yeah, she has John Cena there. So I bet she is familiar with getting head from Al Snow. So we had that from our ASMR cringe comedy. And now over to the Fun Police. This is the account over is Ghostlight Odyssey. These are clowns on the street in Las Vegas. So I hope to go to Vegas soon and run into these clowns, the Fun Police.
What are you doing?
Whatever you tell my drill sergeant.
I like, I'm a fan, even though she's sleeping on the job. And I do like hardworking people. I am a fan of that clown.
Hey, I wrote you a song. What? It goes a little something like this. Fuck you.
I like the song. They have some good original songs there from the Fun Police. Hey, fuck you. I know that you couldn't see the John Cena action figure in that video, Jiru. You can't see him. That is the problem with buying a John Cena action figure, is that you can't see it. One more from the Fun Police, and then we'll get on out of here.
Hey, how are you feeling? I feel kind of depressed and fucking awful. Oh, yeah. Next time say good and then shut the fuck up.
When I asked how you were feeling, I didn't actually want to know how you were feeling. I actually had a stand-up comedy bit just like that. It used to be my opener for a while, and it degenerated into a suicide joke. I haven't done stand-up comedy in a while. I've got my tight 1 minute that used to be my opener, but is now very kind of performance artsy, just 1 minute. And I enjoy doing that. I'm not a stand-up guy. That sounds like I'm a shithead, doesn't it? I'm not a stand-up comedy guy. I could be like a stand-up comedy writer, a stand-up comedy coach, not a stand-up comedy teacher. Like, it sounds like the same thing, stand-up coach and stand-up teacher, but there is a slight difference that I could really go down a rabbit hole and get into. Isaac Walmart, I am winning him over on this clown, making him tingle. Detroit hates the clowns, but hate clowns like KB hates puppets. Oh, so this I apologize. This the end of co-host auditions isn't your favorite part of co-host auditions at all, but TikTok around the clock, we roll the dice. Sometimes there is a lady clown and sometimes there is not, but at the end of co-host auditions, we will always have some lady clowns. TWO, Tuki World Order. And El Horrible will be joining Annie and I next Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern on What Is This Game? Annie will be joining me on Thursday for Chatting with Beloved Chatters, another TikTok around the clock tomorrow, and we have some speed dating in that one. That one is a favorite of a few of our listeners, so be sure to tune in for that. I believe it's going to be multiple games. El Horrible is not a gaming fan currently, but he does have vast knowledge as remember the 90s has shown. He does have a knowledge of games from back when he was a kid. So I believe we're just going to do some overall retro talk. Annie is fine-tuning on if there will be anything in particular or if we're just talking about games we enjoyed when we were a kid, but it will be a retro episode with El Horrible on What Is This Game next Wednesday. 2 more days with me at 11:30 a.m. Eastern. Thank you all for joining, and please come back. But for now, feel free to go away.
Well, it looks like that's all the time we have for today. Thank you for going on this adventure with me. It's fun being with friends. I'll see you next time. Bye now.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye.
Places all join hands, circle left. Now circle right and listen to me. LSMFT. Elementary corners like swinging on a gate. To right to your honey with the right and left date. Grand right and left around you go. Lucky strike means fine tobacco. Meet your honey and give her a whirl. All swing around with the little girls. Smoke 'em, then you'll see. LSMFT. Promenade and don't you fall. Promenade around the hall. Lucky strike is first again with tobacco men. Promenade straight down the pike. It's time right now for a lucky strike. Yes, for smoking that you're bound to like, you just can't beat a lucky strike.